Welcome back, everyone. My name is Charlsie Baldwin. I'm one of the co-founders here at Twin Legacy Solutions. This is our podcast called The Future Proof Leader. Today, we have another leader on the call, and we're going to dive into AI. We have our Chief Growth Officer from Phantom AI, Daniel Tappan, here with us today. I'm really excited about his product and what they're doing at Phantom AI. And they're obviously really leaning into AI. So we want to dive in and just learn about what's working, maybe what's not working, what other business leaders should be thinking about in today's landscape. So, Daniel, thanks for joining today. Before I dive into questions, can you just give us a quick background and tell us about Phantom AI?
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate you having me, and never going to turn down a chance to nerd out over AI and all that fun stuff. Um, Background on Phantom AI: we were founded nearly half a decade ago in really just the e-com space. Is where we cut our teeth, and just absolutely blown away with AI and all the different applications. It took us our first 2 years as a company to really settle on e-com as the lowest hanging fruit of just a no-brainer application of this technology. And since then, we've only narrowed in and really dialed in on that as a channel. Um, Phantom essentially is a customer acquisition platform. That's the best way of describing it. A personal shopping concierge for every customer throughout every stage of the journey. And so a lot of brands will use automations like Klaviyo and all that. And certainly they have their place. But we come alongside them and help build their AI, audit the AI, optimize it. So it's not just this glorified FAQ bot, but actually your highest performing salesperson.
I love it. Very cool. And obviously, you've been around for a while, so things are working and you know what you're doing. So we definitely want your perspective on this.
Yeah.
So thank you for that background. I'll just dive right in here. AI adoption is obviously accelerating, and I'm sure you've seen that over the half a decade since Phantom AI has been around. From your perspective, how is it reshaping the customer experience today?
Yeah, that's a good question. At really high level, what it's doing is it's allowing personalization at scale. I'd say that's the main thing. It's shifting from broadcasting to actual conversating. For the last several decades, the most CX automations, they're like one-way flows, email, SMS blasts, or like static chat widgets. And they're very efficient. Don't get me wrong, but they don't listen. And so what's changed is and happening now is brands are able to give customers that one-on-one attention and really what they want, right? Quick answers, accurate information, and human feeling conversations right when they need it, without needing a huge support team 24/7. And the unlock here is like timing and context. Because if we do a lot of abandoned checkout recovery, that's like our MVP agent. So I'll probably use that as an example here a couple
Mhm.
times. But when someone abandons at checkout and doesn't, pull the trigger on a purchase, uh, the uh, the actual experience shouldn't be, "Hey, you forgot something. Here's a coupon code." It should be, "Hey, I saw that you were looking for this specific product. Did you have any trouble at checkout, or perhaps a question that I could help you with?" And this goes from just a simple reminder to actual assistance. And so that's high level the change that we're seeing, and then also tactically what it looks like in reality. Um, and when it works, it doesn't just close tickets, but it actually changes the outcomes,
Mhm.
drives revenue. Customers love the experience. They're able to be more educated and brought into the journey and develop more of a relationship with the brand. And so you're not winning people back based on a calendar date, but by their actual habits and actions. So yeah, I think it's really going a long way. Kind of two birds with one stone, where brands are able to save a lot of money and customers are able to get that VIP white glove experience at scale.
Mhm. And you mentioned human feeling, right? We get that feedback a lot because we're in a similar industry, not e-commerce, but we help B2B to get in front of their target market, and they don't want it to feel like a bot, right? They want it to feel very much like it's a human who's reaching out or responding on their behalf. And I do think that's important. But I also think a lot of us out there just expect it's going to be a bot now, right? Like
Yeah,
we're so used to it that as long as the bot is giving me the answers and the solutions, then who cares if it's a bot, right? I think that human feel is still important, but I think it's becoming less and less critical, honestly, from the feedback I'm seeing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, your outreach, what you're doing with AI, it worked on me. I was more than happy to come on. I did assume it was a bot, but I
Right.
didn't mind at all because you guys are doing it right, and really creating a brand voice and an agent that speaks like you and represents you. But
Right.
in regards to your question, I mean, I think people do prefer to speak with other people, but it's analogous to the whole self checkout thing, right?
Yeah.
When that first came out, people were a little offended and like, oh, I'm gonna have to be my own bag boy and all this. But I don't know about you, but I go for the self checkout every time, even if I have a large
Yeah.
cart. Like hands down, it's efficient. I get what I want. I get out. And I think that's something similar we're seeing with AI. For better or for worse, that is the direction the world is headed in.
Right.
Is that efficiency and is that personal touch that brands just they can't staff 1,000 people in a call center to handle everything one on one.
Mhm.
When they do, you're stuck on hold just so you can speak to an actual human. Whereas AI could get you that answer right away. I don't know about you, but I know I would choose one over the other all day, every
Mhm.
day.
100%.
Yeah. And well, and
That's a really good
with
example.
AI, I mean, the goal really isn't to replace humans, right? It's
Mm.
to let humans do the human parts. And it's a great tool, right? I don't want to hammer in nails all day with my fists, right?
Mhm.
I want to use a hammer. And so AI is just that tool that just allows humans to do what we're good at, the actual building, rather than damaging our damaging ourselves on these repetitive tasks that AI can easily take over, right? Like
Right.
FAQs, in the e-commerce world, things like shipping, returns, order status. I saw a stat the other day, didn't surprise me, but still kind of surprising, I guess, that like over 60% of all customer inquiries are just like, where's my order?
Mm.
You don't need a person telling people where their order is.
Right.
There's a lot of automations that can do it. And then obviously having AI do that function conversationally and tailored to each individual person, it's just way more effective and a better experience.
I agree with you completely. I think it's an enhancer, right? It's not to replace the human, it's to enhance them so they can be repurposed to focus on those tasks that, like you just said, right? It's if it's repetitive, usually AI is a good solution for it. Um,
Yeah.
we were talking a bit about brand voice. What role do you think brand voice plays in implementing these AI solutions that does it matter? And if so, why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's so before jumping in, I would start here. It is important, but it's more or less important. There are industries, there are companies and verticals that brand voice is not as important because it's
Mhm.
transactional, right? How can I get the highest quality product for the lowest cost? And that's really what it comes down to. Um, and it doesn't matter if you know, like, or trust that person. Just can I order this bracket that meets these specs at this cost? But in instances where trust is very important, most AI implementations they're going to fail quietly
Mhm.
because they sound like a generic help desk, and customers will feel that they'll feel that immediately. They'll say, okay, this is a bot I'm talking to. And so if you're a premium brand or just any company that needs to win on trust, then brand voice isn't fluff. It's conversation and it's conversion. It's what's going to move the needle. And it's what you say and how you say it are kind of the two main things that make up a brand voice. So what you say, like your policy, the transactional side of things, like specs, pricing, and all of that, and then how you say it with tone and energy, and how direct you are, and
Mhm.
even how you handle objections. A lot of AI chatbots that are, I mean, there's a dozen new companies every day. I'm not kidding. They don't even handle objections. If a customer says, hey, I'm thinking about this, but man, I just can't justify pricing, they might be able to negotiate by saying, oh yeah, if your order's over 200, you can get free shipping. But they're not going to sit there and ask buying questions, or use question-based selling to get the customer to realize that, okay, this is something I want, it is worth the
Mhm.
cost, I can't get this anywhere else. And so being able to build those things into the agent is what makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And is that something Phantom AI is already doing today?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah. And it depends on the agent. You can ask AI to do everything and then it's going to do it everything poorly.
it. Yeah.
What we do is that we have five main pillar agents that we use, like welcome series, abandoned checkout recovery, product education, win back, and customer service. And each agent is actually a swarm of like anywhere from 20 to 30 agents all working together just to generate a response as a chatbot.
Hmm.
And it includes things like websites, product description specs, SOPs, and training manuals as if you were going to hire a normal human. We want the AI trained on that. But each of them have different flows that contextualize everything and completely unique goals. So our abandoned checkout agent is completely different than the customer service agent because it's your closer, so to speak. It's trying to close the deal and make the sale, not just answer questions, provide clarity, and make someone feel valued.
Hmm.
And so that certainly is part of it. And to your point, like the brand voice thing, um, another important thing to consider is that um, you know personality doesn't come from prompting. It comes from real world experience and real customer conversations that will reveal the gaps in the AI.
Hmm.
And then the act of refining that over the course of 2-3 months. Um, Out of the box, our AI will resolve about 80% of all customer inquiries and conversations to completion to purchase. But if it doesn't know the answer or it feels like it's guessing, it turns itself off and it says,
Right.
hey, Charlsie, sorry, I'm new here. Let me get a manager so I can get you the most accurate information. And then it turns itself off and hands the conversation over to your team. And
Hmm.
we look at how your team handles that. And then we update the agent. So the next time a customer asks that question or similar question, the agent is able to handle it seamlessly, exactly the way that you and your team would. And it's those escalations that make all the difference. It's
Hmm.
not a set it and forget it. It is a constant process of optimization. And that's where personality really starts to come. And that's why Phantom exists, right? We do this for you so that you and your team aren't having to spend 80 hours a week going through conversations and training your AI.
Hmm.
Um, and that's really where that personality comes from.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And internal, a lot of our viewers are business owners, so a lot of our owners are out there implementing a ton of different AI tools. They're testing them out, seeing what they like. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, what tools, or you don't need to, name drop the tools, but what type of internal business, either processes or whatever, management, admin work, finance, what are you guys using AI tools for to run your business?
Well, all of those. I mean, we're
Yeah,
we're a lean team, so
yeah,
anywhere we can apply AI, we do, and we
yeah.
we uh, we staff agents. So our founder Franco Bonifaz, he will, if there's something missing or something that needs done, he'll just build an AI agent to do it for the company. So yeah,
Love
we probably have about 50 employees, but
it.
the majority of them are AI agents.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that.
for I don't know, for a business owner, and I don't know who's listening to this, but even outside of the ecom space, I would just go through some very basic questions, right? Like um, first and foremost, where's the money leaking? Like that's huge. If you see like where money is leaking, and it could be staffing costs, right? You're hiring too many people to do this repetitive cost. It could be opportunities that are slipping through the cracks. That's what Phantom thrives on, right? There's so much money on the table that's just sitting there from traffic that, I mean, you've already paid to drive to your website. And
Right.
then, I think the average is 55% of all checkouts just abandon and they don't come back. So that's half of your revenue is
Hmm.
sitting on the table. So ask yourself, where's the money leaking today? And then look at two factors. You can score, like if you were to map out all your business operations, and you can score them on how important and vital is this activity on a scale of 1 to 10. Is this really important, like a closing call with a big client, or is this filing a report and looking for errors, like proofreading, right? So
Hmm.
0 to 10 importance, and then how repetitive or how often is this task? How much time does it take up? Again, score it on a 0 to 10, and then pick the ones that are the lowest importance but the highest time consumption, and that's the best way to start. You always want to start small and roll up. I wouldn't implement AI right away on the most important and least productive.
Mm-hmm.
Always start with the ones that are going to make the biggest difference on time and they have the lowest importance in the business and maybe just not that vital. Would be the best way.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of tools out there, they're just AI. They're just like AI with lipstick, right? You could say, oh yeah, it's an AI chatbot, but
Right.
just because you say that, they're two completely different products. So you really need to look under the hood and see what's going on underneath to really make a decision. The worst thing you can do is just use AI for the sake of AI.
Right. Absolutely. That's the same advice we give our clients to start with. Find an easy, quick win, right? Start with what's easy and obvious that you can start to automate. You don't go straight to like our logistics clients. We don't go straight to automating your schedule and your routing planning. Like that's more complex. And if you don't get it right, there's some pretty big impacts to it. So start with those easy ones. I totally agree with you. And I think the biggest thing is just start, right? Like you can't not be using AI in your business this year. Um,
Yep.
you know, especially if you're just starting off, there's so many, your competitors are already doing it, right? And if you want to be able to keep up with them, you have to find ways where you can be more efficient by leveraging the power of AI. So,
Yep. And
um,
do it on processes that are proven. I've
yeah.
seen a lot of people. I actually had a meeting last week with a gentleman who has this whole new vision for an entire new journey, and he
Mm,
wants to just slap AI on it.
mm,
That again is one of the worst things you can do. AI is not a magic stick; it's a tool, and it takes a lot of
mhm,
hard work.
mhm,
Find a process that is clearly documented and you have a standard operating procedure, step by step instructions of what the actions are, how it needs to happen, and also that it works. So if you
mhm,
have a human performing these functions, it's clearly mapped and you get the results you want every time. That's where you apply AI,
mhm,
because now you have a roadmap for it to follow and you have observable metrics that you can say, okay, is this working, is this not, versus trying to write an entire new journey or new operating procedure that uses AI. Start with the ones that you already have proven work and are
mhm.
clearly documented, and then just lay AI over it, and it becomes an easier build. And then you actually have a way of measuring it to know if it's successful.
Absolutely. AI can't fix your process. That's where the human is still extremely
Yes.
important. You can use AI to give you ideas on how to fix it, but you have to make sure your process is working before you just automate. And that's
Yeah.
whether that's a heavy ERP system you're throwing at it or a warehouse management system or AI, right? You can't just throw systems and assume it's going to fix your business. So, um,
Beautiful. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
I- Yeah, definitely. Well, Daniel, this has been a great conversation. I love when we have guests on who are as tech savvy as you are and can really talk through how you can power AI in your business. And I think that what you guys are doing at Phantom AI is extremely interesting. It sounds like a fantastic tool that you've been around for a while for a reason. Obviously, it's a great product. I wish you guys the best as you continue into 2026. I know we're almost out of Q1 already, which is kind of crazy. It's flying by, but
Yeah.
thank you again for joining us. If people want to look up Phantom AI, how do they find you?
Yep, phantomai.com, but without the vowels. So that's going to be phtmai.com. Or you can find Daniel Tappan on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find. I won't bite. Feel free to send over a connection request and always open to chat.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much and take care.
Yeah, thank you so much, Charlsie. I
Bye.
appreciate it. Cheers.